I lied. I cheated. I bribed men to cover the crimes of other men. I am an accessory to murder. But the most damning thing of all, I think I can live with it. And if I had to do it all over again, I would.
Welcome to Epilogue Podcast, the show where we discuss some stuff that happened on a different show ages ago which nobody really cares about anymore.
Hi, I'm Portponky.
And I'm LeBloc.
Today, we're discussing Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 19, In the Pale Moonlight. Sisko recruits Garrick's help for some political subterfuge, which escalates out of control. What did you think of this one?
I thought it was awesome. What about you?
Well, yeah, I thought it was awesome too.
I could have guessed because you said you like narration stuff, and this is all involving Sisko trying to process his feelings through a private log that he ultimately deletes. It was a nice gimmick. They haven't framed an episode like that before.
Yes, they have.
Okay, never mind.
Whispers was narrated.
But was it him recording a log?
Yeah, it was O'Brien's
Oh.
last thought. Anyway, I didn't just like it because it was narrated, although that is something I like.
So why did you like it?
Because it's a good story.
Yeah, it is.
Plenty of twists, plenty of stakes, real sort of emotions going on, very believable, etc., etc. I don't know. I could sing the praises of this episode, but I don't think I need to. So why don't you talk about what you liked, seeing as it's brand new for you?
The retelling aspect helps a lot because we see the choices he makes, and then we also hear how, oh, I should have realized then. We hear the hindsight. It's easy to look back at mistakes and see where you went wrong, but then when it's happening, it's not so easy to see. And it was cool to get both of those.
You kind of walk with him every step of the way as he makes little concessions here and there, bribing Quark, providing a biomimetic gel to an unknown third party, etc., etc. Each one justifiable, but by the end of the episode, he's up to his neck in dirty stuff.
Yeah, it all adds up.
It's the what's it called? The fallacy of sunk costs.
Yeah, I've already done all this bad stuff. I might as well keep doing bad stuff.
What's one more bribe when you've already... Well, sending out the biomimetic gel seemed like the worst thing.
It was illegal, and he left a paper trail.
The paper trail went back to Starfleet.
Isn't that still bad?
Well, probably not. I assume he said to Starfleet, hey, I've got a crazy plan to get the Romulans in on this. Don't ask too many details. Then he asked them to check off a whole load of incredibly dangerous substances. And they probably said, yeah, okay, Sisko's got a good track record of providing results, so let's see what happens.
Go for it. You have carte blanche.
Romulans start attacking the Dominion a few days later, so they probably said, oh, fair enough.
His declaration in the beginning, I was going to bring the Romulans into the war, made me laugh because it's one man and he's going to motivate an entire race of people to join a war. But if anyone has that kind of hubris, it's going to be Cisco, and it ended up happening, so he was right.
It wasn't really him, though. Garrick played him like a fiddle.
He still got the result he wanted. The Romulans have plunged into conflict.
The outcome is what he wanted, but he lost a lot on the way. The personal cost was quite high.
He got caught lying to discount William Dafoe.
Did you say William Dafoe?
Yeah, isn't that what is it? Will? What is his name?
Willem.
Willem? Okay.
Plus the actor is not Willem Dafoe.
I know. I said discount, like the cheap knockoff version.
I thought you meant to discount someone, as in to discredit.
Oh no. I thought his name was William. Never mind.
That's not the issue I have. Senator Vreenak is played by Stephen McHattie, who's a cool guy. He was one suave customer.
It's too bad he died. I wanted to see more of that guy.
Yeah, it's a small price to pay. And yes, he was very watchable. I would have liked him to be a main character.
As soon as he was introduced, I thought, oh, cool. We're going to see more of this guy because he's a big deal with the Romulans. And the Romulans are likely going to be involved in this war now because of Cisco. And while that part came true, he unfortunately died.
Murdered brutally by Garrick. Vreenak did one of the finest little bits of foreshadowing in this episode.
He did, and when I thought about the episode once it finished, I thought, oh, that is a great scene. How he detects the replicated drink. At first it fools him, but he figures it out.
He was fooled, but only for a moment.
Even if you don't catch the foreshadowing right away, that scene lets you know this guy is perceptive. And I love how he did not believe what he was seeing during that sequence.
Analyzing the recording.
Yeah,
He
walking up to them.
God, that's tense, that moment.
You think he's going to shout at Cisco right there. This is fake!
Even Cisco looked quite tense, and he's usually in the moment, but he looked quite puckered up.
It was a good fake out too, because after the recording is played, he doesn't seem satisfied, but he's not saying, oh, this is fake yet. So you think, oh, maybe this plan will work. And then he gives him the rod, and then he's examining the rod. And I was thinking, there's no way he'll see that it's fake because that will cause so much trouble. That will be crazy. And then that's what happens. And then you think, oh, how will they get out of this? That was really good.
Garrick was ahead of you. But it's not clear if he found that the recording was fake or if there was some physical property of the ophthalmic data rod that showed it was fake. I guess it's a bit academic one way or the other.
Why didn't he contact his superiors right away?
I have a good answer for that. He's flying around in a cloaked ship on a secret mission. Sending subspace broadcasts is probably not the best way to remain hidden.
They could be intercepted.
Well, it could give his location away.
Yeah, okay. That's
Maybe. I don't
that's
know if they
fine.
could, but something like that.
That's good enough.
We had a rule of acquisition.
Which was a line that O'Brien had a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, 98. Every man has his price. That's just a regular idiom or proverb.
Yeah, didn't even try there. Didn't even say every man has his latinum
Buyout value.
buyout value. Yeah.
I'm glad they just stuck with this one. What better phrase could they have come up with to reflect this episode and the situation in which it was used?
Cisco's price was war. He wanted it.
Cisco's price was a bunch of dead guys, a bunch of biomimetic gel out to random folks, and a war. I guess he was buying the war.
Yeah, that's what he was trying to acquire. And his price is everything.
It was cheap in the end.
Do business with Garrick. That's all you have to do.
I think the lesson is don't put Garrick in charge of things. Or do. I don't know, it depends. He got a little taste of power in this episode and people started dying almost immediately. But the results were coming in thick and fast.
The lesson I took from it was just ask Garrick to do anything that's slightly off color.
He's got the right mindset for it. There's no doubt about that. I think if Garrick was in charge, the Dominion War would be over in a few weeks. But
If that.
the list of casualties would be immense.
Oh, it would be. Cisco's full-time job would be posting dead names. I don't understand why he has to do that anyway. Doesn't it just come to the computer, then people can look it up?
It's maybe a sort of ritual thing. It might not be the best to just email it out. You know, forward, re dead people.
And then someone accidentally hits reply all, and you think, oh, jeez. I already saw
Reply
these
all.
dead people.
Reply all, unsubscribe. It's a bit more personal if the captain pops it up on the wall so people can go and look at it like exam results.
If you do not forward this list of dead people to 10 people, 20 more people that you love will die.
That's actually quite accurate.
That's pretty much what was happening.
What they don't tell you is that even if you do forward it, 20 more will die.
That's kind of what they were doing. They would look at the list and then say, yep, I got 2 on there. How about you?
I got a royal flush.
An entire column must be my day.
Oh. It may not surprise you to hear that this episode is one of the most discussed episodes. Not just of Deep Space Nine, but of Star Trek in general.
That kind of surprises me, that it's that discussed within the umbrella of Star Trek.
There's a Voyager episode called Tuvix that gets a lot of discussion, but that's for a different reason.
Because it's awful?
Yeah. But this one gets a lot of discussion because it's really treading the moral grey areas that Star Trek shies away from.
Someone heard that phrase, do the ends justify the means, and then went crazy writing this episode.
Well, that's a large part of the discussion. Do the ends justify the means? Is it okay for our Star Trek heroes who are sworn to the laws of the Federation to turn around and murder a bunch of Romulan dignitaries to get them embroiled in a war that they can't otherwise win themselves.
What do you think?
It's a hard question to answer.
It's so loaded.
The simple answer is, well, yeah, because the Federation are the good guys, so they've got to beat the Dominion, who are the bad guys.
But why are the Dominion bad?
Yeah, exactly. Why are the Federation good? If they're suddenly assassinating dignitaries, then maybe they're not so good. Maybe they don't deserve to win more than the Dominion deserve.
It wasn't until this episode that I thought, wait, why are the Dominion bad? I know the Federation thinks they're bad, but what makes them bad guys?
Well, they're exerting their will over other people, limiting their freedom. But aren't the Federation doing the same thing? The Federation, on Sisko's behalf, have got the Romulans embroiled in a war that wasn't their own. So, to an extent, aren't the Federation just as guilty as the Dominion of subverting other worlds now?
Yes, they are. They've become what they say they rally against.
But not to the extent that the Dominion are. But then it just becomes a matter of bargaining. Like, who's worse? How many senators have you assassinated? Oh, I've only done one. You've done 4, so you're 4 times as bad.
That's all splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's not how you tell who the good guys and who the bad guys are.
You can't trick a bunch of people into going into war and say, well, I'm still a good guy at heart. My intentions are good.
At the same time, I don't think you can win a war without getting a little bit messy here and there.
Gotta get your hands dirty.
Ideally, no, but realistically, noble intentions will only take you so far.
But maybe that's as far as you should get.
But then the good guys really would lose.
Maybe they're supposed to.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
we're supposed to be run by terrible people.
Maybe, but the Dominion aren't. Well, they are pretty terrible. They killed a lot of solids and tried to get people embroiled in wars continually. I think it comes down to that saying that history is written by the victors.
And the Federation really wants to write history.
They'll be the good guys if they win. So, winning must be the goal at any cost. And in this case, the cost is not being good guys. So they have to not be good guys so they can be good guys later on.
Once you win, you can override your not being a good guy-ness and
Exactly.
become good guys again. You nullify it.
And if they lose, then who cares?
It's like getting a shot. You have to introduce some of the illness into your body, and then you fight it, and then you become well again.
Kind of. Are we now just justifying the assassination of a foreign dignitary?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just a shot in the arm. That's all.
It stings a little, but it's for the general good.
Then they'll be even better at assassinating dignitaries.
No, then they won't need to.
Oh.
Unless they need another race to join them.
A bigger needle.
Strangely, there was a lot of discussion about the title of this episode.
I didn't look it up, but I'm sure it's a reference to something.
It is, and there was a great amount of discussion whether the phrase pale moonlight is from one of the Charles Dickens books.
The phrase "in the pale moonlight" is used in chapter 43 of The Old Curiosity Shop by Charles Dickens.
Or the phrase "in the pale moonlight" is from the 1989 Tim Burton film Batman,
Uh,
where the Joker says, "Have you ever danced with the devil in the pale moonlight?"
that's from that movie? I thought that was an older quote.
Well, they're probably paraphrasing Dickens in the Batman film, so
Oh, okay.
this was a big point of contention because a lot of people said, no, they quote Dickens and Shakespeare and Keats. They don't quote Batman. And then a bunch of other people said, well, the Batman quote really makes a hell of a lot more sense.
It wouldn't be the last time that a good quote was in a Batman movie. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's a great quote.
It is a great rephrasing of "If You Stare into the Abyss." True. Anyway, eventually, one of the writers, Ronald Moore, I believe, in 1998, Ron Moore, whatever his name is, confirmed that they were actually referencing Batman.
That's awesome.
Much to people's surprise, because it really seemed like it might be Dickens. That's the kind of thing they do.
I would have guessed Dickens, given this show's history and the stuff they've quoted before. Bunch of Shakespeare. But I am delighted that they took something from Batman.
Maybe that's why this episode was awesome.
But unlike Batman, Cisco is willing to kill.
He was not willing to kill. He just became embroiled in a bunch of murders and then decided he could live with it.
And that he would do it over and over and over again. Emphasis mine, but he would repeat it.
I don't think he was actually eager for it to happen again. He just said that the outcome was fine. The cost was acceptable. Do you have any select quotes from Cisco's deleted log file?
I lied. I cheated. I bribed men to cover the crimes of other men. I am an accessory to murder. But the most damning thing of all is, I think I can live with it. And if I'd have to do it all over again, I would.
Yep. Cisco likes winning more than apparently not being a murderer.
He loves when things go his way more than anything, but then he likes winning as number 2. So he didn't get number 1. It didn't go exactly as he planned, but he got number 2, and that's good enough.
When he attacked Garrick, it seemed like he was more annoyed that Garrick was doing all the winning than anything else.
Yeah, that was, why didn't I think of that punch? He has to pretend to be mad that Garrick murdered someone, but I think he's just mad he didn't think of it and tell Garrick to do it.
I think he's more mad that he couldn't. It's not in his character to recommend someone be murdered in cold blood as a plan B.
That's a good point. That's what Garrick does get at, that Garrick is aware that he has what it takes and that Cisco doesn't. And Cisco knows that deep down. That's why he hired Garrick. If it came to something like this where it didn't go as planned and then extreme measures would have to be taken, he knew Garrick would take those measures, and he wishes he could.
That's essentially it. Garrick says, you could never have won this, but you won because you came to me, and I can win this. So at the end, I think Cisco is just frustrated that he did all this stuff, and he did win, but he couldn't win on his own terms. He couldn't win as a good guy. He had to use Garrick as a proxy to do a bunch of underhanded stuff.
Garrick is his spirit animal.
Oh god, that's terrifying. Well, after that emotional roller coaster, I think we should move on to the next episode.
Yes, we should.
Hopefully the Dominion will be getting their butts severely kicked by the Romulans.
I hope to see more cool guy Romulans.
Perhaps we shall. Let's do it.
All right.